The museum was quiet that morning, sunlight falling in long, warm stripes across polished floors and towering marble columns. Dr. Maya Caldwell walked in slowly, taking her time, eyes soft with familiarity. She had spent nearly 4 years researching and writing the exhibit that was opening today, but she didn't carry herself like someone seeking attention. She moved like someone returning to a place she loved. She wore dark jeans, a cream sweater, and glasses that slid slightly down her nose. Nothing about her appearance announced that she was a renowned historian, or that her name was printed in bold letters at the beginning of every display panel inside the new exhibit hall. And that was exactly why the moment unfolded the way it did. Near the entrance, a museum guide straightened brochures on a stand. Her name tag read Evelyn, her smile polite but thin, the kind of smile that held more judgment than welcome. Maya approached with quiet curiosity. Good morning. Could you tell me which direction the new Voices of Our Past exhibit is? Evelyn looked her up and down quickly. No greeting, no warmth. That exhibit is a bit academic. It's not really the kind of thing people usually get on a first visit. She gestured vaguely down the hall. But if you want something easier, we have a modern art wing. Very visual, very simple. Maya blinked, surprised. Not by the suggestion, but by the assumption behind it. I'd still like to see the Voices exhibit, she said gently. Evelyn exhaled through her nose, like she was tired already. It can be overwhelming. A lot of historical context. Some visitors find it difficult to understand. She lowered her voice, as if offering a favor. I'll walk you through it so you don't get lost. Maya nodded, not because she needed help, but because she wanted to see where this would go. They walked down the corridor together, gallery lights dimming into a soft amber glow. The entrance to the exhibit rose ahead, tall walls lined with archival photographs, maps, and handwritten letters, each carefully chosen, contextualized, and explained. Maya recognized every one of them. Her fingertips brushed the air near a display. Not touching, just remembering the day she held the original document in the archives. But Evelyn didn't notice. She was too busy talking. This section covers early community settlements. It's very complicated history. Lots of names, dates, politics. So don't worry if you don't follow everything. The text panels can be a bit academic. Maya listened without interruption. She had written those text panels, word for word. Evelyn continued, guiding her to the centerpiece, a massive mural showing leaders, artists, educators, and activists in motion across a timeline. You see this figure here? Evelyn said, pointing confidently. She was some historian who worked on assembling all this research. I can't remember her name. Something Caldwell? Anyway, people say she's well regarded, but that's debatable. Maya stared at the mural, at the plaque beneath it, at her own name. Dr. Maya Caldwell, lead historian and exhibition author. Her photograph was right there. Evelyn didn't look. She was still talking, still explaining history to the woman who had dedicated years of her life to uncovering it, shaping it, and preserving it. Maya took a slow breath, calm and steady, the museum light reflecting softly in her eyes. She didn't correct her. Not yet. Because the moment to speak would come. And when it did, Evelyn would recognize her. Not by her clothes, not by her assumptions, but by the truth she had overlooked. Evelyn continued her explanation with the confidence of someone who believed she was teaching a beginner. She walked briskly from plaque to plaque, waving her hand like a conductor, guiding music only she could hear. This part discusses community resilience. Again, pretty dense. Most visitors just look at the pictures and move on. Maya's eyes drifted to the photographs, faces of families, teachers, musicians, librarians, people who had shaped local culture in small but undeniable ways. She remembered interviewing their grandchildren, hearing stories whispered through memory and time. None of it was dense to her. It was alive. They turned a corner where the largest interpretive panel stood, a warm brown display bordered by gold trim, titled, The Hands That Built Us. Under it, a paragraph described the core thesis of the exhibit. The first line read, researched and written by Dr. Maya Caldwell, Ph.D. The name was impossible to miss. But Evelyn didn't pause, didn't notice, didn't look. She simply said, this part is where most people give up. Too many details. I'll simplify it for you. Maya finally spoke. Her voice was gentle, measured, clear. No need. Evelyn blinked, confused. Maya stepped closer to the panel. Not dramatically, just enough to read her own words again. I know this section, she continued. I wrote it. Silence. Real silence. Evelyn's expression flickered. First confusion, then disbelief, then an uncomfortable stillness. She glanced at the wall, really looking for the first time. Her eyes stopped at the name. Her mouth parted. She read it once, then again, slowly. Maya Caldwell. Her gaze snapped back to Maya, eyes wide now, cheeks flushing with the realization of what she had done. Not just the mistake, the assumption. You're Dr. Caldwell, she breathed, the words catching on her tongue. Maya didn't smile. She didn't gloat. She didn't rush to comfort. She simply nodded. Yes. The moment stretched, heavy with truth. Evelyn's voice shrank. I didn't realize. I noticed, Maya replied softly. Not cruel, just honest. A group of visitors entered from another hallway. One whispered excitedly to her friend, That's her. That's the historian who wrote the exhibit. Maya didn't turn. She kept her gaze on Evelyn, whose posture had collapsed. Shoulders drawn inward, confidence drained, replaced with something raw and human. Recognition. I'm so sorry, Evelyn murmured. Maya nodded once more. We all have blind spots, she said quietly. What matters is what we do after we see them. She stepped past Evelyn, moving deeper into her own work, surrounded by voices she had brought back to life. Evelyn didn't follow. She stayed where she was, small, humbled, facing the lesson she had shaped with her own behavior. Maya walked on, not triumphant, but assured, because she never needed to prove who she was. She just needed to be seen. And now, she was. Maya moved through the exhibit slowly, taking in the details the way one looks at an old friend, familiar but still deserving of wonder. Visitors lingered near displays, reading, pointing, whispering softly. A few recognized her from the event posters and nodded respectfully, but no one interrupted. They gave her space to exist in the work she had created. Meanwhile, Evelyn remained near the entrance of the gallery, frozen in thought. She wasn't embarrassed because she had been wrong about who Maya was. She was embarrassed because she had been careless with her assumptions. It took her a full minute to gather herself before she approached again, this time slowly, without the rushed confidence she had shown earlier. Dr. Caldwell, she said quietly, stopping a respectful distance away. Maya turned, her expression calm and open. I learned this exhibit for the tour script, Evelyn began, voice low, unsure. Dates, names, key points, memorize them, but I didn't understand them the way you do. Maya let the silence rest, not to punish her, but to allow her the space to finish. And I didn't understand how I came across to you. I thought I was guiding. I was really just assuming. She swallowed hard. I'm sorry for that. Maya nodded, thoughtful. You spoke from what you knew. But sometimes what we know is only the surface. Evelyn exhaled shakily. I'd like to learn more. Really learn. If you're willing to teach me. Maya considered her carefully. Not the apology itself, but the intention beneath it. There was no defensiveness. No carefully rehearsed script. Just a woman who had finally seen her own blind spot. So Maya didn't lecture. She didn't correct. She invited. Walk with me. They moved together to the center of the hall. Maya gestured to a portrait of a schoolteacher, surrounded by children in a one-room classroom. Her name was Alice Porter. The curriculum she created shaped literacy standards for 2 counties. She was dismissed for decades as a local teacher, but she built generations of readers. That's legacy. Evelyn listened, not to respond, but to hear. They moved to another display, an old handwritten journal under glass. This belonged to a carpenter who documented community festivals and local gatherings, Maya continued. His notes tell us more about daily life than official records ever did. Evelyn leaned closer, eyes softening. So, history isn't just big events. No, Maya said gently. It's people. Real people. Their voices deserve to be understood. Not simplified, not filtered, not spoken over. The words landed with weight. Not heavy, just true. Evelyn breathed deeply. I see that now. Maya offered a small, warm nod. Good. Then the exhibit is already doing its job. They stood quietly for a moment, surrounded by the unseen hands of the past. Then Evelyn spoke again, voice steady now. Would you allow me to adjust the tour script? To tell these stories the way you intended them to be heard? Maya smiled, not wide, not triumphant, just sincere. Yes, she said, I would like that. And in that moment, the museum didn't just display history. It made it through a shift in understanding, through a pause long enough to listen, through one voice finally giving space to another. Not by force, but by clarity. The next weekend, the museum was livelier. School groups, families, tourists, the hum of voices mixing into a gentle echo beneath high ceilings. Sunlight streamed through tall windows, sliding across polished floors like gold leaf. And at the entrance to the Voices of Our Past exhibit, Evelyn stood ready. But she didn't stand the way she did before. Chin lifted, arms crossed, speaking from a place of assumed authority. She stood grounded, open, attentive. Her hands rested lightly in front of her, not guarding, not leading, simply present. A small group approached, a mix of ages and backgrounds. Among them was Maya, standing off to the side, not hidden, not announced, simply observing. Evelyn began. Welcome. This exhibit tells the stories of educators, community leaders, artists, organizers, and families whose work built the foundation of our city's culture. These are not stories of the famous. These are stories of the essential. Her voice was steady, not rehearsed, not mechanical. Lived. She gestured to the first wall of portraits. These people shaped the world quietly, through everyday acts that held extraordinary impact. The historian who researched and wrote this exhibit spent years piecing together letters, diaries, church bulletins, and oral histories to make sure these voices would not be forgotten. Her eyes flickered briefly to Maya, not seeking approval, but acknowledging truth. The visitors leaned in, curious. She continued, guiding them deeper into the hall, not simplifying anything, not flattening the richness of experience, but lifting it. At the center here, you'll see the mural honoring the women who organized the earliest neighborhood literacy circles. They weren't recognized in newspapers. They didn't have titles. But they shaped the language, education, and self-perception of a generation. And from them, entire cultural movements grew. The group stared, moved, thoughtful. A young girl whispered to her grandmother, "They look like us." Maya felt her chest warm. Yes, she thought. Exactly. When the tour reached the panel with her name on it, Evelyn didn't avoid it. She didn't shrink. She didn't perform grand apology. She spoke simply. This exhibit was written by Dr. Maya Caldwell. Her work has helped preserve community histories that were almost lost. We are honored to tell these stories in the way she intended, full, human, and whole. The group turned to Maya instinctively, realizing who she was. Some smiled, some nodded. One person placed a hand over their heart. Maya didn't bow or wave or step forward for attention. She just smiled back. Warm. Present. The tour continued, full of questions and reflection, not confusion or dismissal. When it ended, people lingered, reading more, seeing more, understanding more. That was the victory. Not embarrassment, not correction. Growth. Evelyn approached Maya afterward, not nervously, but with respect. "Thank you," she said simply, "for giving me the chance to learn it right." Maya nodded, and this time, the smile reached her eyes. "Thank you for choosing to." A week later, the museum hosted a community evening, free admission, open to local families, students, and elders, whose histories were reflected in the exhibit. The halls filled with voices, soft laughter, shared memory. The building felt alive in a way Maya had always hoped for. Maya walked slowly through the crowd, listening, not to her own name, not to praise, but to the stories being shared because of the stories she had preserved. A grandfather pointed to a photograph of a coal worker and told his grandson, "He was your great uncle. He used to whistle hymns while he worked." A mother lifted her daughter so she could read a handwritten poem behind glass. A group of teenagers debated the mural's symbolism, their voices animated, thoughtful. History wasn't dusty here, it breathed. Near the center of the gallery stood Evelyn, hosting another tour, not because she had to now, but because she wanted to. She spoke with warmth, curiosity, and humility. She asked visitors questions, listened to their memories, and wove their stories into the narrative. She didn't present history anymore. She shared it. When their eyes met across the room, Evelyn didn't look away. She gave a soft, genuine nod. Maya returned it. No words needed. The work had done what it was meant to do. Later, as the evening wound down, Maya stepped outside to the museum's stone steps. The city lights flickered in the dusk. Warm air, carrying quiet conversation from the open doors behind her. A young girl approached, no more than 10, wearing bright pink sneakers and a shy expression. "Excuse me," she said. Maya turned, kneeling slightly so they were eye level. "Yes?" The girl held a folded museum brochure to her chest, like it was something important. "My teacher says stories disappear if no one writes them down," she said softly. "Did you write these so they don't disappear?" Maya felt her chest warm. "Yes," she said, "I did." The girl smiled, small but full of meaning. "Then I want to write stories too." Maya didn't have to think. She held out her hand. "You already started," she said. "Just keep going." The girl nodded and ran back toward her family, sneakers tapping lightly on the stone. Maya stood watching her go. One day someone would write her story too. But for now, she was exactly where she needed to be. Not in front of the exhibit, not above it, not behind it, inside it. Because history wasn't just something she studied, it was something she carried forward. And today, another young girl would carry it too.